What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a brand new Liverpool news video, and in this video we will talk about Pep Guardiola sarcastically saying congratulations Liverpool, you are the Premier League champions. I think that this is a very big mind games by Guardiola, and I really didn't expect this from him, but I think he's still upset that the media and the public praised Liverpool more for winning the Champions League than them praising Manchester City for winning 3 trophies, all the domestic trophies in England, the Premier League, the League Cup and the FA Cup. But I think if Guardiola is smart, he has to know that all of Manchester City's trophies will feel a little bit hollow because they spent more than £1 billion on their squad, and Liverpool are doing it, of course, by spending money, but not near half as much as what Manchester City are spending. They spent twice as much money in 10 years than what Liverpool spent in 20 years. That puts it into context that Man City are basically spending 4 times the money that Liverpool are spending. And let's actually hear what Pep Guardiola had to say after the Norwich Manchester City game. But what do you think about these mind games? Do you think that Liverpool are living rent-free in Guardiola's head? Do you think that he's rattled by Liverpool's constant success? And now Liverpool equaled the 14-game winning streak that Manchester City did at the end of last season, and the Premier League record is 18 games, and that basically is the Manchester City's Premier League winning record. And I think if Liverpool are right, they can match that, but we have some very tough games coming up. We have Napoli and Chelsea away from home, and those will be 2 big tests. But let's hear what Guardiola has to say about it. But I would love to hear your opinions. Leave them down in the comments below, and leave a like on this video if you enjoy these types of videos, and subscribe if you are new to my channel. So Pep Guardiola said this: "We are in September, what do you have to do? We will recover, train and come back. We have dropped 5 points. Tottenham, we played incredibly well. Today, in the important parts, we have to know exactly what to do. But congratulations to Norwich. The first goal was from a set piece and the second on the counter. So credit to them, it is what it is. We have to learn from this and carry on. Our passing was not too bad. We created chances, but we could not score them today. They are a really good team, Norwich, with good players, with quality. We saw that in the Championship last year. They were clinical today. We did not have the urgency in the final third that we normally have. In football, you can't always avoid mistakes. I don't know how many shots we had or how many they had, but football is about goals and about what you do in the boxes." Guardiola is right. Norwich had just 3 shots on target, and they had in total 7 shots in the whole game. Man City had 18 shots in the second half alone, and they had like in total something like 25 shots to Norwich's 7, but it's all about the result. And Man City had a very dominant second half performance in terms of shots, corners. I mean, they had 13 corners in the second half alone. Norwich had 0 corners in the second half. Man City had 18 shots in the second half, Norwich had 3. But it didn't look like Guardiola's classic ruthless Man City team. Raheem Sterling made some good chances, hit the post, and I think Manchester City has to be worried, especially because their defense. Because Otamendi and Stones is not a successful title-winning partnership. They only started 8 times together in the Premier League in the past 20 months. That shows me that Guardiola didn't really trust them so far with this centre-back partnership. And I think the biggest mistake for Man City was not replacing Kompany. They signed Rodri instead, who is a great replacement for Fernandinho. He scored yesterday and he's a very good defensive midfielder. But I think with Kompany, who went on Anderlecht, and now Laporte injured, Manchester City have serious defensive issues, and both John Stones and Otamendi are prone to some injury layoffs. So what happens if one of them gets injured? Then Manchester City will be left with either Kyle Walker or Fernandinho having to play centre-back, and I think that's a far from ideal situation. What Guardiola's aim with this is probably to put the pressure back on Liverpool and to relieve their side the pressure. What Guardiola is trying here with the mind games is that to declare Liverpool basically champions in September. That's a nonsensical talk, and no Liverpool fan are thinking about Liverpool already being champions. We have just a 5-point gap, but it's very, very early. There is still 33 games left to play. And I think it's very smart actually by Guardiola to putting the pressure back on Liverpool. It's not a very noble tactic, but it's a smart tactic, because now the media and everything, the rival fans will lap it up, and if Liverpool drop points, they will say that you declared Liverpool champions already in September, which in fact isn't true, because it's not Liverpool or the Liverpool fans who are saying it. It's in fact Pep Guardiola. But that's how the narrative will shape up in the Premier League, and I think this will be very interesting. I think Liverpool are a very different team from last year or 2 years ago. Now we have the belief that actually we gave the Champions League final to Liverpool, that we are one of the best teams in Europe, if not the best. And I don't think that Liverpool are the best team in Europe. We just won the Champions League, and I think we are in the top 3 alongside Manchester City and Barcelona. I think those 3 teams at the moment are the best 3 teams in Europe, but it's very difficult to put them in order. And yes, we won the Champions League, we finished on 97 points in the Premier League, but you can't just say Liverpool are the best team in Europe. We are the kings of Europe, we are the champions. So Guardiola is right, Liverpool are a champion team, but we are the champions of Europe. And what Liverpool fans want, and what I think Jurgen Klopp and the Liverpool players want the most, is to win the Premier League after 30 years. And I think Liverpool have a great chance to do it, because I think our squad is better than last season, because we have Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain back, we have a fit Ryan Brewster again, who is called up to the squad for the Napoli game, because Origi got an ankle injury. He rolled his ankle, Origi, so he had to be subbed off, and Liverpool acted very quickly. Ryan Brewster was subbed off just 20 minutes into the Liverpool under-23 side. They drew 3-3 with Derby as under-23 side, and Brewster was subbed off just 20 minutes into the match, just to save him from getting injured or getting too tired, and just to save him for the bench of the Napoli game. I think Firmino, Mané and Salah will start that game against Napoli, but we will have Ryan Brewster on the bench, and this could be the breakthrough for Ryan Brewster. I was waiting for him to get on the bench of Liverpool. I think he will play against Milton Keynes in the League Cup, definitely, but maybe earlier than that, maybe as a substitute to Firmino. I could see Brewster getting some minutes. But of course Guardiola was sarcastic in his comments, and he claimed that it is far too early to consider, you know, who will be the champions at the end of the season, and there are many twists and turns that are ahead in the Premier League title race. But I think at the moment it's definitely advantage Liverpool, and we have, you know, a very, very different outlook on the season now. I think Liverpool are playing with such confidence, such swagger of European champions, and I think even when Newcastle took the lead in previous seasons, Liverpool might had, and Rodri, the Manchester City holding midfielder, warned the rest of the Premier League that they will bounce back and that they are going to kill their opponents, in quotation marks of course, not literally, but what Rodri is referring to is that Manchester City are far from done in the title race. And it's actually it's ridiculous to even suggest anything else, because I think apart from Guardiola, nobody's saying really that Liverpool are champions right now. But Rodri, this is what he said: "We didn't play our best match, of course, but we lost because of our mistakes, and we can learn from that and not repeat it again in the next matches." But that's the thing, Otamendi made those kind of mistakes before, and he hasn't learned from it. He is just that kind of a player. He is prone to lapses of concentration. Just my comment. I don't think you can learn that. It's just a thing of Otamendi's nature, that he's a centre-back like that. And what is very, very big advantage for Liverpool is that Man City cannot sign a defender, but until the January transfer window. But even now, even before the Norwich game, Guardiola was talking about maybe signing a defender in January. But now that maybe moved into definitely, because after the defensive showing of Stones and Otamendi against Norwich, I think Guardiola will definitely put a shortlist onto Manchester City's transfer team to work on, because Manchester City, I think it will be a shock if they don't sign a new centre-back in the January transfer window. But the good news is that we have a good 3 months until then, and Manchester City can drop a lot of points between now and January, and then Liverpool might be too far ahead. But that's just wishful thinking on my part, really. Manchester City are still a world-class team, and they will still win a lot of games in the Premier League. But if they are defensively vulnerable, maybe more teams will be more inclined to attack the Manchester City backline. And I think they can be hurt. They don't have the best defense in the Premier League, in my opinion. That's Liverpool's defense, even though we have only kept 1 clean sheet so far in 5 games. But we won all 5, so it doesn't really matter that much. And Rodri said this: "I don't know if people trust us or not, but we are a team. You are going to see the best version of Manchester City. Normally, when you get these matches, in the next one, you kill the opponents. So that's what we are going to do in the next match. We are going to kill our opponents." Pep told us this team isn't allowed to lose. We have to win. Every time I play, I get more used to the Premier League. For me, this environment is incredible. You come to places like Norwich and the atmosphere was incredible. It was a tough day. When you come off the international break, it was always more difficult. So that's a good interview by Rodri, and I think Man City play Watford next in the Premier League. So that Watford can expect a very, very tough game at the Etihad Stadium. In other news, Sadio Mane revealed what happened between him and Salah in a personal interview. This is what Sadio Mane said: "Sometimes you have to say things face to face in football. These are things that happen in football," Mane continued. "Sometimes it happens that I am not given the pass, but we have reconciled and become the good friends we were before." So Sadio Mane basically here confirms that he was mad because Salah didn't pass him the ball, which was pretty obvious the way that he was saying to the bench of Liverpool, like, he should pass me the ball, and he was absolutely furious. But I think Mane and Salah made up between themselves, and now I think they can I think they will have a more fruitful partnership from now on, because when Salah will have a chance to pass to Mane the next time, I think he will do it. That's my opinion. And I have very, very good news for you guys. The English media is reporting that Liverpool have opened talks with Sadio Mane over a new contract. He is 27 years old, and Liverpool opened the dialogue at an early stage, but they opened the dialogue with Mane to outline their intention to tie Mane down to another long-term deal. His contract runs out at 2023, so it's not like he's in a rush to sign a new contract. But I think what Liverpool wants to do is give Mane even higher wages, so his contribution to the team is reflected, and also that he feels valued and respected and loved by the Liverpool officials as well as the fans. And what is absolutely incredible is, since Sadio Mane signed for Liverpool, he's unbeaten in 50 Premier League home matches for Liverpool after their win over Newcastle, playing in 50 games at Anfield for Liverpool, winning 41 games and drawing 9. So every time Liverpool lost at Anfield, Mane hasn't played since he signed for Liverpool, which is an incredible statistic. And I also wanted to give you Jurgen Klopp's thoughts on the Newcastle game and what he thought about our win. I started enjoying the game after 25 minutes around about when we finally arrived in the game. We needed that. We didn't want to have that, but it's not unlikely that it can happen because it was really difficult. Newcastle did what they did. They do that really well and are always a threat for counterattacks. It's difficult to press them because they play the ball that early, constantly in a second ball formation, then they have the speed to go in behind. Plus Joe Linton is really physically strong fighting for these balls. That's how they scored the goal. We played them onside, unfortunately. In all the other situations they were clear offside, but that was the moment. Then we all know that it makes the game not easier. We needed around 15-16 minutes to set the rhythm after that. In the moment when we started doing that, immediately we had our moments, we had chances, we scored 2 wonderful goals. Second half, learning from the games and showing the boys a couple of pictures, which helps always, because you can then justify the situation, right, where's the space and things like this. Second half, we scored only 1 goal, but we played really good football and I liked it a lot. There were a few moments I enjoyed. Not a lot, but a few, and enough to be a deserved winner today. And Jurgen Klopp was asked on Roberto Firmino's impact as a substitute. He got 2 goals. It was my idea to start with Sadio in the center and Divock Origi out on the left wing. It didn't work out really well, but it worked already for us really well. But today, against such a deep defending side, it's a bit different. That's why we changed it already in the game. Unfortunately, Divock twisted his ankle early in the game and had to come off. We all hope that it's not that serious, that he could play on. Could be a sign that it's not that serious. Hopefully it's like this. But of course, when Bobby came on in his natural position, Sadio really flexible in that space, Mo really strong today in one-on-one situations against physical, strong players. In the moment when we were more flexible on Sadio and Bobby's position, when we used Mo more often for balls into his feet and 1-2s in and around the box, we were then really in charge of the game. That's obviously important. We won a lot of second balls and there were not so many counterattacks anymore, so it was then a really good game. How I said, wonderful goals really. The first goal was of course sensational by Mané. Nice pass from Robertson, sensational finish. And then second goal, winning the ball back, Firmino passes immediately in behind, super run from Mané, and then really being there. And then the third goal, wonderful. So we had even better moments which we didn't finish off. Nice football moments today. And he was asked on the attention paid towards the Champions League this season and whether there will come a time to rest players in European games to save them for the Premier League. Jurgen Klopp answered this. Interesting question. Any advice on how we could do it differently? I'm interested. What do? We don't make the difference between competitions. We never did. It's about availability. We can, who can play, who is how, which shape. That's how we make decisions if we can. Most of the time we couldn't, to be honest. We always had to bring whoever could at least walk. We cannot go to Napoli and say we play 60, 70, 80% of what we usually do. It's a completely different game. We will not have the ball as often and as long as we had it today. They are unfortunately really, really good. I'm not sure if they played already or they will play now. We will watch them tomorrow and then we make decisions about how we can try to win against them. But that's a proper opponent. They are really good and they caused us problems already. And we now have to make sure the problems will not be that big this time. On whether he was surprised VAR didn't intervene when Joel Matip felt he was fouled in the penalty area by Lascelles. It was an obvious foul. I mean, he was in a headlock by Lascelles and Matip was dragged down. And how did VAR not give a penalty for that? I mean, something is seriously wrong with VAR. That's just my comment. But let's hear what Jurgen Klopp had to say. The fourth official told me they did it. Was I surprised that it was still not a penalty? Yes, but that doesn't help, obviously, in situations like this being surprised. For me, it was a clear penalty. But as long as you win, then it's not that issue. If we would sit here and had we lost for 1-0, and then we would speak differently about the penalty. But it's a penalty, we cannot fight like this for a ball. Joel Matip, it's a wrestling situation, he turns him in the air. In the past we didn't need VAR for these decisions, so we should not use it now, just whistle it and then shoot from the penalty spot. I fully agree with Jurgen Klopp here. I think that was a penalty, but let me know what they think in the comments below and I really hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, see you later guys, goodbye.